As you can see, there are multiple data sets with a specific nomenclature. The nomenclature for these data sets are the name of the tester, the language they're testing for, and the dialect they're testing for. This will help all the testers easily identify their respective data sets. I'm going to click into mine. As you can see here, there are multiple entries which are a specific day's work of testing. Now, let me quickly walk you through the process of testing here. As you can see here, these are the audio files which we can click into to listen. Let's listen to the first one.
I'm going to visit a temple near my house.
Now, the task in hand is to validate whether the transcription proposed here matches the speech in the audio. In this scenario, it's a perfect match. So let's go ahead and mark it a match. Now, since it's a match, we do not need to present any kind of correction to the transcription. So we're going to skip this. Let's listen to the second audio for another example.
The weather is pretty pleasant here in Bangalore.
As you can see here, there seems to be errors in the transcription. So let's go ahead and mark it a mismatch. Anytime you mark a transcription a mismatch, you will be required to provide a corrected transcription. Now I'm sure all the testers have received the expert session, which gives a holistic understanding of how to mark a certain transcription, a match or a mismatch. So please follow the guidelines properly. Now let's provide the corrected transcription for this. Now there can be instances in the audio file where there are pronunciation differences due to dialect changes. Here's an example audio for that. Let's see how we will do the validation or correction process in that scenario.
I want to do a transaction of 50 rupees.
Now if you see the transcription here, it's a perfect match. However, if you listen to the audio, there are pronunciation differences in the words of transaction and rupees. Now in this scenario, we would still go ahead and mark the audio file as a match. And we are not required to provide any kind of correction since it's a match. However, we need to provide details on the pronunciation variance. So in our scenario, there were two words. Transaction being pronounced as transaction. Separated by comma if you have multiple words. The other word was rupees, which is pronounced as done. Now let's move to the next column, which is to mark the perceived gender of the person speaking in the audio file. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this according to my knowledge of listening to the audio. Done. The next column is on the confidence score. This is to evaluate the decision you have taken on whether audio file provided is a match or a mismatch. Now, in the first scenario, I'm pretty confident about the transcription and the decision of match. In the second one, however, since there was a lot of traffic noise, I'm a little underconfident about the last word, Bangalore. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it a non-confident. Now, anytime you mark an audio transcription as not confident, you will need to provide a short comment explaining why. That's it. So we've completed 4 entries here. Now, if you come to the next column, you will be able to see an automatic checker. Now, this automatically checks through all the input fields that you have input and finds if there are any kind of errors or any missing input fields here. Let's go ahead and check it. If you see here, we have 3 completed, which means there are no errors whatsoever. And the fourth one, it says incomplete, which means there is either a missing field or some input that has been filled incorrectly. So turns out the remarks for lack of confidence must be non-complete. Oh yeah, so we have forgotten to fill in the remarks for this input where we have marked it as non-confident. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that. That's it. So we can come back here and check our work again, and it's complete. So this way you will be able to go through all the entries for a particular day's worth of testing, and once the testing is complete, the testers will need to notify the Ekitai coordinators who will evaluate your work, and based on the performance of the work, you will be selected and called for the next day's round of testing.